Yo, what's up everybody? Brandon Champ Robinson here with Imagination Upgraded, and today we talk aspect ratios. That was epic as shit, right? I know. Alright, let's open this up and let's get to work. What is an aspect ratio? Now, I'm not gonna go into all the technical mumbo jumbo. You can look that up anywhere. I'm just gonna give you the basics so we can get started. Hold up. Before we go any further, like this video, then go to the comments and see if you can guess which movie's aspect ratio took me completely out of the movie. Then, at the end, come back and let's see if you're right. Alright, let's get to it. An aspect ratio is the ratio of the width to the height of an image or screen. Some of the most common aspect ratios in film are the 1:8:5:1 and the 2:3:9:1. When you think of a cinematic image, you probably think of more of the 2:3:9:1 aspect ratio. 4:3 and 16:9 aspect ratios are two other common aspect ratios, with 16:9 being the universal standard in high definition television. Now let's talk about some of our favorite widescreen aspect ratios. Pretty much all cameras from consumer to pro level capture based on the 16:9 aspect ratio. Some cameras, like the Allspark, my 5K Red Scarlet W, when using the full sensor, captures at a 2:1 aspect ratio. And when it's squeezed into a 16:9 frame, it looks like this. The Allspark also allows you to change the aspect ratio internally. This is done by cropping the usable sensor area. You can use this to set up a look, or by cropping the usable sensor area down a bit more, you can get faster frame rates out of the red. As independent filmmakers, we all love trying to make our films look a little more cinematic. So we'll take the 2:3:5 matte, the 2:3:9:1 matte, and throw it on top of our 16:9 footage to get that anamorphic feel, or what we perceive to be cinematic. And don't even front. We've all done the tricks where we try to get low budget anamorphic look, whether we putting the little fishing line in there or we're cutting out oval holes in the back of our lenses to get the bokeh. You've done it, I know. But we've all done it for good reason. Shooting anamorphic is dope, but it's very expensive and not all levels of camera can do it. My current setup with the Allspark can't do it as of yet because I only have an EF mount and not a PL mount, which most anamorphic lenses are. At some point, I'm gonna rent a PL mount and some anamorphic lenses, and I'm gonna do an episode on that, so don't worry about that, that's coming. But for now, let's talk about the feel that aspect ratios can give you. When I first started out filming and doing music videos and making short films, I didn't think about the feeling that aspect ratios can give you. All I knew is, this is what movies look like. Yo, slap the widescreen bars on there, this joint is a movie. And for the most part, my clients enjoyed that, and that was the feeling that they got for it. So that worked for me. But as I wanted to become better at directing and learning more and wanted to get more technically savvy, if that's the right way to say it, technically savvy? Yeah, that's the right way to say it. As I wanted to become more savvy technically, I started to study how these aspect ratios make you feel, how these aspect ratios are achieved, and the proper way to do them. But me pushing myself and wanting to become a better director and a better storyteller, I had to look deeper. You want to push an old school feeling to your film? Throw it in the 4:3 aspect ratio. This gives you that old film, television kind of feel. It can throw you into a time period, like the movie mid-90s. I remember watching an interview with Jonah Hill talking about mid-90s and getting it made. He said that he knew it would be an issue for the studios to greenlight a film in a 4:3 aspect ratio in this day and age. He needed this to be done this way in order to convey the time and what he felt in that era. So what he did is he pointed to a wildly popular and wildly successful movie.
What's the meaning of this?
Another one of my favorite movies that utilizes aspect ratio very well is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And as you can probably tell if you watch my opening title sequence video, I really like this movie. Most of the movie is shot in a 1:8:5:1 aspect ratio, but when the fight scenes happen, Edgar Wright begins to go in and out of a 2:3:9:1 aspect ratio. This utilization of the aspect ratio gave me a feeling of a stylized comic book anime type, frames changing everywhere when the action calls for it. The utilization of aspect ratios here actually made the frame feel like it was another character in the movie. This all sounds pretty dope, right? Aspect ratios changing, action scenes, movie cut scenes, the frame being the character. How could you go wrong, right? Well, I've seen it done at least once. Before I go further, I know a lot of people hate on this dude, but he's actually one of my favorite directors, and I don't understand why he gets so much hate, but I will not be jumping on that hate train. And by now you guys probably have already guessed who I'm talking about, and that's Mr. Bayham himself, Michael Bay. And also with that said, I'm pretty sure you guys probably know the movie that's in question here as Transformers: The Last Knight. Okay, now listen, I was dead excited to see this movie, like dead excited, as I've been for every Transformers movie since the franchise started. We got into the movie theater, we started watching the movie, my wife and I, and for some reason I kept getting taken out of the movie, and about maybe a quarter of the way through, I leaned over to my wife and I'm like, yo, why is the aspect ratio changing so much and so abruptly? At this point, I was still kind of training my wife a little bit, so she didn't know as much. She probably still doesn't know much about aspect ratio, but she definitely watches movies differently now. So she didn't really know what I was talking about. She more was just like, man, shut the up and watch the movie. But I noticed it, and it was completely taking me out of the movie every time it happened. I'm talking about over-the-shoulder conversations, just a simple back and forth. Every time the camera would change from this character to this character, the aspect ratio was changing, and it was just jarring my brain so much that I just couldn't really get off into the movie. It was so bad that to this day, I could not tell you what that movie was about. And I am a very big Transformers fan, and I just could not tell you what that movie was about for the life of me. I was so taken out of this movie, I felt like Michael Bay did it to me personally. Like, it was so personal to me that I actually wrote him a letter on Facebook and posted it and tagged him on his Facebook fan page, which he probably never looks at ever. But I wrote it and just told him how disappointed I was, and I always stick up for him when people try to say he's a trash director. I'm like, you let me down. All you gotta do is just make it uniform aspect ratio. And this is just like me talking to Michael Bay, like, who am I? He doesn't care. He's like, yeah, Lil Brandon Chan Robinson didn't like my aspect ratios, man. Yeah, this movie made over $600 million. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is right. He never explained himself. I guess he doesn't have to. He's Michael Bay. So that's it. I hope you found this video informative and enjoyable. I once had one of my homies tell me that he hates widescreen, and his reasoning was, I bought this big ass TV. Why do I want to see only half the picture? And to that I answered, well, you got a point. People like what they like. No need to argue. Let me know in the comments if you prefer a widescreen 2:3:9 aspect ratio, a 4:3 aspect ratio, or the full screen 16:9. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe, and use your aspect ratios responsibly. I'm gonna catch y'all next time. Peace. All right, here we go. Aspect ratios, take one. Yo, what's up, everybody? Brandon Champ Robinson. Fix that a little bit. Some cameras, like the Allspark, my 5K Scarlet Red. Jesus. All right. And don't even try to front on me. We've all when you're reading that comic book. Damn it, that's not good. That's not a way to say it. It's not right. Natural.